This story begins just after Queen Victoria came to the throne. Jacob Marley had been dead for 7 years. His business partner, Ebenezer Scrooge, was the meanest man in London. He would not even pay for a coat of paint to remove Marley's name from the office sign. It still read Scrooge and Marley. It was a cold, foggy Christmas Eve. Outside the office, a small boy was singing a carol. God rest you, merry gentlemen. Let nothing you dismay. Scrooge rushed out with a wooden ruler to take a crack at the boy's head. Just in time, the boy scurried off. Scrooge hated Christmas and everything to do with it. He was a tight-fisted old miser who never did a kind deed nor gave a penny away. He looked as if the cold had not right inside him. His thin lips were blue, his eyebrows, wiry hair, and stubbly chin looked silver with frost. Coldest of all was Scrooge's heart. It made his office feel chilly. Even in summer, at Christmas it was freezing. The fire was tiny, and Scrooge kept the coal bucket by his desk. His clerk couldn't fetch a piece of coal without asking. The clerk's name was Bob Cratchit. He sat on a high stool in the outer office, writing in a huge account book. Though he wore mittens, his fingers were so cold he could hardly hold his quill pen. He wore a long scarf. He called his comforter wrapped 3 times around his neck for warmth. His wife had knitted it, for Bob could not afford an overcoat. Scrooge only paid him 15 shillings a week. It was dark and foggy outside the office, but the people walked past were cheerful. The next day was Christmas, and the shop was blazing with lights and full of Christmas cheer. There were turkeys and geese, piles of oranges and apples, nuts, cakes and sweets, though not everyone had the money to buy them. Suddenly Scrooge's office door opened and a cheery voice cried, "Merry Christmas, Uncle." It was Scrooge's nephew Fred. His face glowed with the cold and his eyes sparkled. "Bah," said Scrooge. "Humbug, what reason have you to be merry? You're poor enough." His nephew laughed. "What reason have you to be miserable? You're rich enough." "Merry Christmas," growled Scrooge. "Down with Christmas. If I had my way, every idiot that goes about singing Merry Christmas should be boiled with his own pudding and buried with a stick of holly through his heart." "You don't mean that, I'm sure, Uncle," said Fred. "Come and have Christmas dinner with us tomorrow, and let's be friends." But Scrooge refused. "I'm going to wish you a Merry Christmas in spite of your bad temper, Uncle." "Uncle," said Fred, "and a Happy New Year." "Bah," Scrooge snapped as his nephew left. As Fred went out, he let in 2 gentlemen. They were collecting money for the poor to give them a bit of comfort at Christmas. Scrooge refused to give the men anything at all. "Are there no prisons?" he demanded. "Are there no workhouses? I support those with my taxes. Let the poor go there." "Many can't go there," said one of the men, "and many would rather die." "Then let them die then," said Scrooge. "There are far too many poor people." The gentleman went away, disappointed. The fog got deeper and the afternoon darker. Soon it was time to shut the office. Bob Cratchit got ready to leave. "I suppose you want the day off tomorrow," Scrooge grumbled. "If it's convenient, sir," said Bob timidly. "I shall have to pay you a whole day's wages for no work." "It's only once a year," said Bob, and that's once too often, growled Scrooge. But he knew he had to let the clerk go. Just be sure to come earlier the following day to make up for it, he barked as Bob left. Bob ran off like a lad let out of school. He slid down a frozen hill 20 times at the end of the line of boys. Then he hurried home to play blind man's buff with his family. Scrooge ate a lonely supper in a miserable inn and read the financial papers.